After what feels like years of speculation and internet debates, the legendary cyberpunk anime Ghost in the Shell is getting a big screen live-action Hollywood feature film adaptation. What could possibly go wrong? While it remains to be seen if the movie does the source material justice, on the bright side, this might be somebody's first introduction to Ghost in the Shell or to the entirely awesome subgenre of cyberpunk, which is my favorite kind of sci-fi. I'm Max Scoville, and here's some stuff that might be relevant to your interests. Ghost in the Shell first materialized as a 1989 manga by Masamune Shirow, known in Japan as Mobile Armored Riot Police, which was adapted into a feature-length anime in 1995 and released stateside a year later, helping to introduce Western audiences to the idea of totally badass Japanese cartoons for adults. Japanimation! Later renamed anime. The manga and movie both got sequels. The second manga is called Man-Machine Interface, and the second movie is called Ghost in the Shell Innocence, and they're completely different stories. Then came the TV series Standalone Complex, which then got a sequel called Second Gig. I'm not really sure how a TV show gets a sequel, but here we are, whatever. Oh, and then most recently there was Ghost in the Shell Arise, which exists as a manga, an OVA, and a TV series. It's effectively a reboot of all the previous iterations of Ghost in the Shell, but what's cool about this series is that almost all of these different incarnations make decent jumping on points. Then of course there are Ghost in the Shell video games, because of course there are. You play as a robot spider tank in one of them, and then there's a tactical shooter that came out last year. So basically, if you think Ghost in the Shell looks cool at a glance, there's plenty to sink your teeth into and get lost in. And even that is just a drop in the pond when it comes to cyberpunk as a whole genre. Masamune Shirow's got an eye for bleak futures, as you can see behind me, and the intersection of man and machine, as demonstrated both in Dominion Tank Police and Appleseed, which exist as manga and a variety of different animated forms. The 2004 Appleseed movie received a mixed reception, but did some really groundbreaking things with computer animation, and has received several sequels of increasingly higher fidelity CGI. If you just want to look at some of Masamune Shirow's cool-ass designs, check out INTRON Depot. It's a series of art books that are basically mixtapes of cool otaku stuff like robots, military hardware, motorcycles, swords, and half to mostly naked cartoon ladies that I probably can't show you in this video. They're fun because there's no story to figure out. They're just cool pictures. You're like, wow, that lady has a motorcycle and no pants. Bitchin'. Anyway, if you like your cyberpunk more dystopian and less cybernetic, Akira and Cowboy Bebop are both some of the best used features ever to be shown on screen, and much like Ghost in the Shell, they both have absolutely stellar soundtracks, which, unlike Ghost in the Shell, have not been remixed by Steve Aoki, thankfully. The creator of Akira, Katsuhiro Otomo, also collaborated with Osamu Tezuka on Metropolis, which was loosely inspired by the 1927 Fritz Lang silent film of the same name, which is arguably the first movie about cyborgs. 1927, imagine that. Hey, you know what's dumb as hell? People saying the new Ghost in the Shell looks like the Matrix movies. Really? You think? The Matrix movies borrowed heavily from the original anime, and the Wachowskis made no secret of that, releasing the Animatrix, a collection of animated Matrix side stories about human-cyborg relations that was released alongside The Matrix Reloaded. Amazingly enough, the Animatrix actually holds up a lot better than the Matrix movies, and if you dug the Animatrix, try to track down a copy of Robot Carnival. It's an animated anthology of 9 shorts from 1987 about robots, obviously. Robots are cool. If you like watching cartoons about them, that's one that you can check out. That's really what this video is about. It'd be an affront to common decency if I was recommending cyberpunk fiction and didn't give a nod to William Gibson, who's largely credited with establishing the genre with his 1983 novel Neuromancer, which deals with themes like post-human mechanical augmentations, the existential dilemmas of artificial intelligence, and how cool it would be to have sunglasses embedded in your eye sockets. Neuromancer's a classic, but if you want just a kind of across-the-board sampling of old-school cyberpunk, grab the short story collection MIRRORSHADES. That also explores futuristic uses of reflective sunglasses. That is about all we have time for, so please, if you're offended that I left something out like Blade Runner, Deus Ex, Bubblegum Crisis, Bride of Frankenstein, Aeon Flux, you get the idea. Please share some of your own cool cyberpunk Ghost in the Shell recommendations in the comments below. Imagine that, using the internet to enrich each other's lives instead of just arguing and saying mean things about each other. Crazy! The Matrix has you! Anyway, for more on cyborgs and motorcycles and robots and swords and guns and jumping and anime and all these great things, keep it right here on IGN. I'm Max Scoville. Take it easy. See you later. Whew.